Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today's episode is on my favorite topic, pizza. Just kidding, it is about disposable chopsticks and the effects on the environment. Let's dive right in. According to Forbes, 69 billion chopsticks are used and discarded in China and Japan itself. Even in North America, and other countries in the world, disposable chopsticks are the only types of chopsticks offered in many restaurants that serve Asian cuisine. On the other hand, disposable chopsticks are also the default option for takeouts from many restaurants. Thus, factors like this put the annual global demand for disposable chopsticks at 80 billion pairs. Disposable chopsticks are made using different types of trees. However, for this video, we will be focusing on all types of wooden disposable chopsticks. In this informative video, we will look at the life cycle analysis of wooden chopsticks. Following sections outline the processes involved as well as the environmental and social impacts of each stage. A chopstick's journey begins at this stage. This is the stage where trees are cut and extracted from forest areas to be processed into chopsticks. This is the step that harms the environment most directly as trees are cut down for the sole purpose of making chopsticks. The demand from China and Japan alone results in cutting down and processing of 3.8 million trees on average, while the global demand for chopsticks requires about 4.5 million trees being cut down. This is a very significant number because we're in the midst of a climate crisis, and cutting such a large amount of trees drastically reduces the amount of CO2 absorbed, leading to higher levels of CO2 in the atmosphere. Production of disposable chopsticks is stripping Asian forests so much that China is now unable to produce more chopsticks and solely relies on lumber and chopsticks imported from the USA. On the other hand, mass cutting down of trees can potentially harm natural habitats as well as entire ecosystems. Milling results in sawdust as a residue, which creates more waste ending up in landfills. Machines used for milling also use a process called combustion, which uses fossil fuels, producing large amounts of carbon dioxide emissions. Lastly, sulfur dioxide is left over once the chopsticks are made. Most times this dangerous gas is not treated before being let out into the atmosphere. Sometimes the sulfur dioxide is treated and mixed with sodium carbonate, creating hydrosulfide. Hydrosulfide is better for the environment but still contributes to health hazards such as asthma, coughing, shortness of breath and chest tightness. Workers in these factories are also required to work for extensive hours and paid very unfair wages while being exposed to materials such as sawdust and the above-mentioned chemicals. Thus, workers are working in very unsafe environments when involved in the production of chopsticks. Once trees are cut down and processed into logs, they are transported to chopstick production factories within the country or overseas. This requires long-haul trucks and even cargo ships for overseas transportation. On the other hand, once chopsticks are manufactured and are ready as finished products, they have to be transported within the country and even overseas. This again includes long-haul trucks and cargo ships. This is very harmful for the environment because the shipment trucking and the cargo ships combined emit gases such as sulfur oxides and nitrous oxides, while they also are responsible for more than 13% of CO2 emissions worldwide. Chopsticks are used primarily in restaurants because restaurants like to keep costs down. However, some households also use disposable chopsticks as opposed to reusable chopsticks due to convenience reasons. Chopsticks are also provided with most takeouts in North America. While these are the primary ways chopsticks are used by consumers, sometimes people also use them for their art projects. Due to the inherent purpose of these chopsticks are used just once and are discarded after a single use. The final parts of the video explain what happens to these chopsticks once they're used. Out of the 80 billion pairs of chopsticks consumed annually, 56 billion pairs end up in landfills. Since most chopsticks are not pure wood and have some chemical coating on it, they are not as easily biodegradable, and take much longer to degrade. This creates a demand for more landfill space and aids in landfill constructions. This is harmful for the environment because landfill construction lead to landscape changes, hurt the natural habitats and harm the local fauna. Landfills also pollute the nearby water and soil by leaking chemicals into them. Due to the recent and the steady growth in the waste-to-energy industry, there are many companies trying out multiple ways to transform and turn different waste products into energy. Some companies are in the process of and have successfully developed ways to turn used chopsticks into ethanol and hydrogen as fuel. This is one good way to combat the environmental effects of used chopsticks and helps in retaining chopsticks out of landfills. Another very creative method some art and furniture companies are developing consists of turning used chopsticks into art pieces and usable, sturdy furniture. Even though the above ways represent just a fraction of the total amount of chopsticks that are discarded, they still are a good first step in helping combat the harsh environmental effects chopstick production has. We just saw how a life cycle of chopsticks can harm the environment at so many stages. Thus, it is important to think of ways to reduce impacts. One of the biggest ways this can be done is by raising awareness about the impacts of chopsticks on the environment. On the other hand, incentivizing restaurants and individuals to use reusable chopsticks can be another way the impacts of chopsticks can be reduced by providing subsidized prices for reusable chopsticks. Now that you know the effects of chopsticks, what other things you think may be harming the environment without us even realizing it? Thank you so much for listening. Please do not forget to like, comment and subscribe to my channel below. Lastly, no great content is produced without using others' intellectual property. That is why, here are all the important resources I use to make my video. Thank you.